Have you ever wondered who the Moors really were? Often, when we talk about race and history, the subject of the Moors stirs up a whirlwind of curiosity and debate. In this captivating exploration, we're going to unravel the mysteries and provide concrete historical evidence about the true, so-called race of the Moors. In 1492, a pivotal year in European history, the city of Granada, the last stronghold of the Moors in Spain, was conquered. Boabdil, a black Muslim general and regent of Granada, surrendered after an 8-month siege by the United Christian Forces of Europe. This event marked the end of Moorish rule in the Iberian Peninsula, leading to the retreat of around 3.5 million black people living in Spain and Portugal, either back to Africa or dispersing throughout Europe. The Moors had played a crucial role in the cultural and scientific flourishing of the region, contributing significantly to what is known as the European Renaissance. Interestingly, the navigation techniques developed and used by the Moors and Arabs were later employed by Christopher Columbus, who, in seeking a route to India, accidentally discovered America. A glimpse into the perception of these African invaders can be found in The Song of Roland, a French epic poem. This account, describing a battle in 8th century northern Spain, vividly portrays the Africans under the command of the Saracen Abysmus. They are described with exaggerated racial features and are said to be as black as melted pitch, with the only white part being their teeth. This is a medieval illustration of the battle between the Franks and the Moors. Roland, nephew of Charlemagne, confronts Marsil, king of Zaragoza, in Spain. Note the clear black faces of the Moors. In this illustration from 1335, the kingdom of Agen in France is defended by the Moors against the armies of Charlemagne in the 8th century. A Moorish king standing before the Antichrist. Propaganda drawing of the Christians in the year 1400. Illustration of the Battle of Poitiers by Charles de Steuben in 1837. While the Muslim leader is obviously an Arab, it is noticeable that the 7 people behind, next to him and at his feet, except for the white woman whose presence appears accidental, are all black. This illustration from 1254 shows Arabs, Moors, fighting Christians. Moorish kingdom in 1400. Notice the very black color of the Africans of the Maghreb, including that of the Queen and the King. This shows a tapestry known as the Wild Men and the Moors. There are 13 blacks on the side of the Moors, including the King and Queen, above and near each other. The Christian King of Spain, Peter of Aragon, receiving the decapitated heads of 4 Moorish princes of the Almoravid dynasty. You can see that the heads are excessively black. This image shows the 4 heads of the same Moorish regents on the official flag of Sardinia, island of Italy, today. In 639, the Arabs embarked on a mission, part of their jihad, to spread Islam through war and establish political control. This campaign led them into Africa, starting with Egypt. By this time, many of Egypt's indigenous black population had migrated elsewhere, and those remaining had mixed with lighter-skinned groups who had ended the region's pharaonic rule a millennium earlier. The Arabs' conquest of Egypt allowed them to absorb its rich knowledge. Their expansion continued into Libya and the Maghreb, regions predominantly inhabited by the original Berbers, known to the Romans as Moors. The term Moors comes from the Greek and Roman Mauros or Mores, meaning black. The Moors had diverse religious practices. Some were Christianized by the Romans, while others followed traditional African animism, worshipping Amun as the sole deity. The Moors, famed for their formidable fighting skills, including women leaders, resisted the Arab invasion for 30 years before succumbing. Consequently, the region, once known as Mauritania, the land of the blacks, in Roman times, was forcibly converted to Islam. In 711, as Europe grappled with the decline of the Roman Empire, it faced a new challenge. An army led by the African general Tariq ibn Ziyad, comprising mostly black soldiers, landed in Europe. Their arrival was initially welcomed by local populations, discontented with the Visigothic rulers. The Moors, under both African and Arab leadership, advanced as far as southern France before being repelled at Poitiers by the grandfather of Charlemagne. They then retreated to Spain, Portugal, and Sicily, where they played a crucial role in revitalizing these regions for over 7 centuries. The period historically known as the Saracen occupation of Europe was largely led by Africans. While Arabs were a minority in this Islamized population, it was predominantly their culture that the Africans introduced. However, racial prejudices from Arabs towards blacks often strained relations in the region. The African approach to occupation differed significantly from other conquests. Rather than seeking to exterminate or culturally dominate the European populations, they maintained a relatively hands-off approach. They did not force language changes, eradicate Christianity, or aggressively alter local cultures. Their influence was mainly in political governance, with a particular interest in the appointment of bishops. In Moorish Europe, the societal status of women was notably more progressive than in contemporary Europe or the Arab world. Both black and white women enjoyed freedoms that echoed those of women in ancient African societies. They participated in various professions and were not subject to veiling. The Moorish rule brought remarkable prosperity and advancements to Spain. They introduced a blend of African, Arab, Persian, and Indian knowledge, significantly reduced taxes, and were passionate about education, establishing 17 universities across Europe. They also founded advanced medical schools and urbanized Spain with paved roads, street lighting, and public amenities like baths and mosques. Innovations included air conditioning, heating, piped water in homes, and a thriving silk industry. A standout figure of this era was the black scientist Ziryab, a renowned botanist, geographer, musician, and astronomer in Europe. He introduced significant cultural changes, such as replacing gold dishes with crystal, serving meals in courses with desserts, and fashion that varied with the seasons. This period saw cities like Granada, Seville, and particularly Cordoba flourish with immense architectural, scientific, and cultural advancements. Cordoba, with its 1 million inhabitants, boasted a vast number of middle-class and noble houses, shops, and bookstores, exemplifying the zenith of Moorish influence in Europe. The history of the Moorish dynasties is a fascinating chapter that spans both Africa and Europe. In the Sahara, a king named Yahya ibn Ibrahim sought to convert his animist subjects to Islam. He enlisted the help of Ibn Yasin, a religious leader from Mecca, but Yasin's initial attempts at conversion were unsuccessful. After being rejected, Yasin found some success in Senegal, where he began to gather followers. Eventually, he launched a jihad alongside Yahya, leading to the formation of the influential Almoravid movement. The Almoravids, under Yahya's brother and successor Abu Bakr, expanded their empire significantly. This empire extended from Tangier all the way to the Senegal River. One of their notable conquests was the destruction of the powerful vitalist empire of Ghana in 1075, which unfortunately led to a period of chaos in West Africa and an increase in Arab Muslim slave trading activities. Yusuf ibn Tashfin, Abu Bakr's cousin and successor, further strengthened the empire. Described as a man with brown skin and frizzy hair, Tashfin founded the city of Marrakesh and played a crucial role in expanding Moorish influence into Spain and Portugal. His empire eventually encompassed a vast area, including parts of modern-day Morocco, Algeria, Western Sahara, and Mauritania, with Marrakech as the capital. The Moorish rule, particularly under the Almoravid and later the Almohad dynasties, was a period of flourishing sciences and arts in Spain. However, by the early 13th century, they began to face defeats. The fall of Granada in 1492 marked the end of the Moorish dynasties. Similar to the situation in Egypt, many scientific archives were destroyed. Despite this, the knowledge that had been translated and spread across Europe played a significant role in sparking the intellectual curiosity that fueled the European Renaissance.